If you care about this channel, I have some information for you at the end of the video. So many sourdough enthusiasts consider using yeast in their sourdough bread a cardinal sin. It's simply a no-go. It's also known as sour faux. In all honesty, it's a technique used by many bakers to infuse sourdough fermented flavors into your yeasted bread. Today I'll share how to make it and the pros and cons. Let's get started. Hi, I'm Sune, and I'm not just a food enthusiast, I'm a full-blown food geek. I'm here to share my passion and knowledge with you. Today we will discuss the pros and cons of adding commercial yeast to your sourdough bread. Using commercial yeast in slow fermented sourdough bread can have benefits and drawbacks. Here are the top 5 pros, balanced by the cons. It is by no means an exhaustive list. Pros. 1. Improved consistency. Commercial yeast can reduce variability caused by wild yeast and bacteria, ensuring more predictable result batch after batch. 2. Enhanced volume and rise. A touch of commercial yeast can often guarantee better oven spring and loaf volume, especially in weaker sourdoughs or when using low gluten flours. 3. Reduced risk of overproofing. The controlled activity of commercial yeast combined with natural fermentation can give more leeway in timing, making overproofing less likely. 4. Easier for beginners. Using a bit of commercial yeast lowers the learning curve for new bakers who might struggle with pure sourdough techniques. 5. Adaptability to tight schedules. It allows bakers to fit long fermented sourdough into busy schedules without sacrificing much in flavor or texture. Cons. 1. Compromised authenticity. Traditional sourdough purists may feel that adding commercial yeast detracts from the authenticity of sourdough baking. 2. Reduced complexity in flavor. Commercial yeast can overshadow some of the nuanced flavors in wild fermentation, leading to a less distinct sourdough taste. 3. Inconsistent texture. If not properly balanced, the rapid rise of commercial yeast can create a denser and less open crumb than purely wild yeast fermentation. 4. Potential overproofing. Adding a small amount of commercial yeast can accelerate fermentation unexpectedly, increasing the risk of overproofing if not monitored. 5. Loss of skill mastery. Using commercial yeast as a crutch may prevent bakers from fully mastering the nuances of natural fermentation. That said, it is purely up to you what is crucial when making bread. If you're a sourdough purist and adding yeast is a cardinal sin, don't use this method. If you're pragmatic and sometimes need to simplify things to accommodate a busy schedule, the rest of the video will help you make tasty bread with that telltale sourdough taste. The bread that I will show you in this video is the same bread as you've seen in my master recipe. 80% bread flour, 20% rye flour, 20% starter, and 2% salt, and it's 80% hydration. The only difference is that you add half a gram of instant yeast. It doesn't matter if the starter is freshly fermented or dormant, since you're not using its rising power. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider joining my Patreon. You can also buy some merch, use the super thanks, or use the links in the description for tools and ingredients. Those were the words. This is the recipe.
You can find the complete recipe on my website. Just follow the link in the description. To a medium bowl, add the following ingredients: 560 grams of bread flour, 140 grams of dark rye flour, 14 grams of salt, and half a gram of instant yeast. If you want to use active dry yeast instead, let it proof for 5 minutes in a tablespoon of warm water, and add it to the water in the next step. Mix it well. Then add 140 grams of sourdough starter. It can be discarded since we're not using its rising power. 546 grams of water. If you want lower hydration, go for 430 grams for 65% or 470 grams for 70%. If you don't know how much water your flour can take, start at 65% and add more until you have the consistency you see after I mix the dough. Use a soft scraper to make a rough ball. Spray a proofing container with straight sides with baking spray. Then put the dough into the container. Flatten the dough with a wet hand. Mark where the top of the dough is and where it will have doubled. Let the dough double. You can do it on the counter or in the fridge overnight. I will not tell you how long it takes. The dough needs to do its thing. Once the dough has doubled, divide it into 2 equally sized pieces. Using your bench scraper, make each piece into a ball. Let them rest for 20 minutes on the counter, then final shape them. To make a boule, flip the ball over, pull each side out and fold it in over the middle. Flip the dough, use your bench scraper to give the dough a taut surface. Flip it into the banneton. You can dust it with rice flour to prevent sticking. To make a batard, wet the counter. Flip the dough onto the water. Tease the dough out into a rectangle. Fold the bottom up halfway. Fold each side in about 2/3. Fold the top down and tuck in the sides. Roll up the entire dough. Tighten it and cover the ends with dough. Flip it into a banneton. Stitch the back. Put both bannetons in the fridge. Turn the oven on to 230 degrees Celsius, 450 degrees Fahrenheit, with a Dutch oven inside. When the oven is hot, grab a loaf from the fridge. Dust the bottom with rice flour to help it slide easily off the peel. Flip it onto the peel. Dust the top with more rice flour for a cool look. Then score the loaf. Take the lid off the Dutch oven. Put the loaf in the Dutch oven. Put the lid back on. And bake for 25 minutes. Just before the 25 minutes are up, prepare the second loaf. Dust it, flip it, Score it. Take the lid off the Dutch oven. Move the first loaf over. Load the second loaf into the Dutch oven. Put the lid back on and bake for another 25 minutes. When the 25 minutes are up, take the first loaf out and place it on a wire rack to cool. Take the lid off the Dutch oven and bake for 25 minutes more. When those are up, take out the bread and let it cool on a wire rack. Let's have a look at the crumb. All right, I'm gonna let the B-roll speak for itself.
So this bread is indistinguishable from regular sourdough bread, but you can be sure that even with a sluggish starter, that your bread will come out perfect. Taste-wise, it has an excellent fermented taste, but seems slightly less tangy. If you want a good tang, use a ripe sourdough starter instead. Using commercial yeast is an excellent technique in your baker's toolbox. It's not a bad thing, in my opinion. All right, come closer. 2024 has been rough for me, both health-wise and job-wise. I plan to make many more videos next year. I'm still passionate about teaching you anything food-related and creating fun and engaging videos. My wife and I will be moving to a new house, which will probably throw a proverbial spanner in the works, but I will keep you updated on what's happening. Have a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. See you next year. And of course, I hope you learned something today. See you next time.